Hello and welcome everyone. Let's discuss today's important news. The first news, which is almost a headline of all the newspapers, that is Pakistan blamed India for Balochistan train attack. Pakistan have did this military operation. In fact, this military operation is going on, and meanwhile, Pakistan Foreign Ministry and military department, they have blamed India and Afghanistan for their involvement in this train attack. According to their ministry, they said that the Indian government and Taliban providing all kind of the logistic and financial assistance to Baloch terrorists. According to them, they are terrorists. So they are saying that they are getting financial assistance from Indian government and Taliban to execute these military operations against the people and government of Pakistan. However, India has outrightly denied this charge, and India have advised Pakistan that Pakistan must have inverted looking approach. They have to see themselves, which is a heaven for terrorists. So it is not an involvement of India or any other nation. Pakistan have to see himself because it is a nursery of terrorists. So this is what India have make its stance, outrightly rejecting Pakistan claim. In fact, Pakistan government try to divert what atrocities they are committing in the state of Balochistan. Balochistan is the largest province of Pakistan. Under the influence and many other things, Balochistan was part of Pakistan in 1948. In fact, not only just the biggest state in the Pakistan, it is also a mineral-rich state. However, if you see the state of Pakistan and Balochistan specifically, it is always marginalized by the Pakistan government. And that is why the Baloch people, they want independence since the time of British removal from the subcontinent. So these Baloch Liberation Army, they are basically London-based people, and they are commencing their military operation in that region. Their point is that we are consistently targeted by the Pakistan government. So in this way, Baloch people want to liberate themselves, and in this liberation process, a lot of Baloch leaders are being arrested, and that is why they have initiated this daring military operation against the Pakistan government in order to free their leaders. But Pakistan, rather than listening them or trying to resolve that internal issue, have put a blame on country like India, which is the biggest victim of the terrorism in the history. So let's move to the second news. The second news is related to Hamas. Hamas have agreed to free those hostages which are having dual citizenship. Those who are having dual citizenship. So when Hamas have controlled the certain areas of Israel under the military attack, they have captured certain citizens. So these citizens, primarily they are Israelis, but some of them, they are having dual citizenship, means they are also having the citizenship of US. So those people who are having a dual citizenship, means of US and Israel, they are being offered to be freed by Hamas. The truce agreement between Israel and Hamas was completed on 1st of March, the first round. Since the end of the first round, the second round is still under the negotiation and it is not cleared. In between, few days back, Donald Trump have threatened Hamas that either you have to free or you have to die. This kind of the threat was given by Donald Trump. Then the second round of this truce was being accelerated, and under that, Hamas have mentioned that they are ready to free those who are having dual citizenship. Those who are having single citizenship, Hamas have not made any kind of the offer. So talks are going on. What is Hamas? Another thing you should read properly. It might be asked in the exam, especially from the geography point of view, where the Gaza is placed. what is a Palestinian territory, with which country they share the border. Such kind of the thing can be asked in the prelims exam. So you are requested to see the map properly and see the border areas, important locations like Golan Heights, and with which countries Israel share the border. Do Israel share the border with any sea? You also have to see in the map. It will be very helpful for your prelims preparation. All right, let's move to the next news, which is related to US aid. The Secretary of State of US, Mr. Rubio, he was asked by certain parliamentarians in US, it is called as Congress. So certain congressmen, they have asked Mr. Rubio to explain what exactly given to India $21 billion for promotion of democracy and voter turnout. So under the name of US aid stands for United States Agency for International Development. So United States Agency for International Development, USAID, provide help and assistance for development in the other countries. Under that, they are providing $21 billion assistance to India. That was stopped by a department headed by Mr. Elon Musk. So once it was announced that we are going to stop this $21 billion assistance to India, it came into the limelight, and in India, government as well as opposition parties are putting blame on each other that this fund is misused to influence the voters in India. Now, the same thing is being asked by the US congressman, under what we are providing this $21 million, we need explanation for what purpose you are providing that assistance. So that assistance to India again came in the news. From the exam point of view, you must understand, you must know that what US aid means here. Fine, what US aid and why present government have stopped this US aid program and how it is going to impact. Fine, so these are the certain things you should read in the detail from here. Now let's move to the another news. A parliamentary panel have asked the government to increase the wages in Manrega according to the price rise. Manrega is a scheme which was launched by the government of India in 2005. Under this scheme, unskilled labor in the rural area is being guaranteed for 100 days of employment. And under that, they will get fixed wages. That wages can be fixed by the state government. Some part of the wage will be assisted by the union government, and some part of the wage is going to be provided by the state government. And because of that, different states have different wages. For example, the lowest wage in state of Nagaland, where it is 234 rupees, whereas in the state of Haryana, it is 374 rupees. But how this wages are being decided? These wages are being decided on the basis of Consumer Price Index, CPI. And under the CPI, there are 4 types of indicators. One is agricultural labor, how the inflation, how the consumer price is moving for agricultural labor, how the prices are moving from rural labor, how the prices are moving for industrial labor. And then we combine these 3 and we make CPI combined. So under the Manrega, the prices are not fixed on the basis of CPI combined. It is based on CPI agricultural labor, which is relatively low in comparison to CPI combined. So this is the observation made by the parliamentary panel, and they have requested the government, you have to provide wages. Wages should be fixed not on the basis of CPI agricultural labor, but in fact it should be based on CPI combined. Another matter which was highlighted by the parliamentary panel, non-payment of central assistance under Manrega to state of West Bengal. State of West Bengal and central government have locked their horns in context of Manrega wages. From 2022 onwards, Government of India have stopped providing the assistant part to state of West Bengal under Manrega. And the reason provided by the government of India is because of huge corruption involved in this Manrega. That is why we have stopped our assistance. Whereas state of West Bengal is pointing the blame on the union government because of the political vendetta. They are not providing financial assistance to the state of West Bengal. Now this matter is also went to the Calcutta High Court is looking in that matter, but in between, parliamentary panel have suggested the fund should be released to state of West Bengal. So it is very important for you, when Manrega was started, what are the main features of this act, what is the purpose of this act. Please revise these things for the prelims point of view. Okay, now let's move to the next news. Aditya L1 mission. Aditya L1 mission was launched by the ISRO. Here we have to understand the term L1. So the L1 means there is an orbit. So around the sun, basically, so this point is L1, this is L2, L3, L4, and L5. So these are the orbits. So Aditya satellite is located here, and from this location, it is consistently observing what is happening in the sun. So sun basically emitting two kind of the emission. One is basically flares and other is plasma. So flares and plasma. If we are able to study properly, then we are able to understand magnetic field, and if we are able to understand the plasma emission from here, from the sun, then it will help us to build a thermonuclear reactor. Thermonuclear reactor which is based on nuclear fission rather than fusion. So it is going to provide a great help to develop the fusion reactor if we are able to understand the nature of the sun's emission. Aditya L1 have provided flareless coronal emission. Flareless corrosion emission. So this data is being provided by Aditya L1 mission. As I have told you, there are two types of emissions happening. One is flares, other is coronal flare emission. So in this way, it is going to help us to understand the plasma release, which is flareless, and it will help us to understand and later on build a thermonuclear reactor which is based on fusion rather than fission. So in this way, it is an important achievement. So from the prelims point of view, you have to read and understand in detail what are the things related to Aditya L1 mission. Right? Now let's move to the next important news. One UN agency, its name is United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. This organization have made an observation, and they said that the actions by the government is going to be the important factor for promotion of global trade. As we know that we are facing certain global headwinds, means there are certain actions which are preventive in the nature to promote global trade. For example, when Mr. Donald Trump have started reciprocational tariff, we will put the same tariff on you what you are charging on us. So such kind of measures, protectionist measures, looking towards only your country rather than putting the entire world as a common place. So such kind of actions are prohibitory in the nature and that are against the global trade. And if the global trade is not going to flourish, world economy is also not going to move forward. So government have to take necessary action in order to promote world trade. This is an observation of UNTAD in order to promote the global trade. Now let's move to the another news. This is important from the budgeting point of view. Finance Minister have reported central public sector enterprises have provided 66,000 crore rupees as a dividend. 66,000 crore rupees as a dividend is given by central public sector enterprises. So first of all, let's understand what is public sector enterprises. Public sector enterprises are those companies which run for the profit purpose and they have majority shareholding of the government. If central government is having the majority share, they are known as central public sector enterprises. Whereas those enterprises which are having the majority shares of the state government, they are known as state public sector enterprises. Central public sector enterprises are divided into various categories: Maharatnas, Navratnas, and Mini-Ratnas. And these enterprises who make profit, they share the profit share with the government of India, and that is called as dividend. So central government have announced 66,000 crore rupees dividend we have received till then now. Still, we have 15 days left in this financial year, and government is expecting 67,000 crore rupees they are going to get in the form of dividend. Now, this dividend is a part of government's earning. If you'll see the budget, it's divided into two parts, that is expenditure part and receipts part. Now, this receipts part of the budget is further divided into revenue receipts and capital receipts. And under revenue receipts, tax receipts and non-tax receipts. So these dividends are the main part of non-tax receipts. Dividends are the part of non-tax receipts, which is a part of revenue receipts. Revenue receipts and capital receipts are combinedly called as government's receipts under the budget. Fine. So that is why it is in the news, and apart from the tax, it is considered as one of the major source of government's revenue apart from tax and borrowing. Now let's move to the next news. Recently, China has organized one summit meeting between China, Iran and Russia. And under that, Chinese government have announced and they have given a statement. Putting unnecessary sanctions on Iran is not right. Western countries who have put a lot of sanctions on Iran, it is not right, and they have to remove these sanctions to put Iran in the mainstream. And once the country like Iran in the mainstream, the global oil supply will increase and it will cool down the price of crude oil, and it will help economy to fight inflation. In this context, recently, Mr. Donald Trump have wrote a letter to Iranian government to let's talk on nuclear deal. And nuclear issue is the main issue why Iran was put under the sanction. Iran is running their nuclear program, and Western countries believe that this nuclear program, which may result into the development of nuclear weapon by the Iranian state. And that is why they have put economic sanctions in order to cut the financial help and assistance to Iran to develop the nuclear weapon. So in this context, this meeting was happened, and China have supported Iran in order to remove these sanctions. Another news is there, US and Israel is thinking about shifting the people of Gaza, not only the nearby area, but also certain parts of Africa. Now, what is this matter? When Donald Trump became the president, he made an offer, we will take care of Gaza, and the people of Gaza will be shifted to the nearby country like Egypt, Jordan, and other countries. But all these countries, whether it is Egypt or Saudi Arabia, all these countries have outrightly rejected this idea. Now, if this idea is being rejected by them, now US and Israel is thinking, if not these countries, then where we can settle? Can we settle at certain African countries? If yes, then what are those countries where we can settle these people? So this is the talk which is happening between whom? This is the talk which is happening between Israel and US. So in this context, that news was reported by the Hindu in the newspaper to shift the people from Gaza to another area. Again, I'll request to all of you to see the map and where the Gaza is located, and from the Gaza, what are the African countries nearby, which sea is there, fine, what are the other Arab countries in the nearby vicinity. Closely see the map and try to have that map in the mind, because there is a possibility of question from this. Another news related to international relation is Syria's new constitution gives sweeping power, offer no protection to the minority. Before the Syrian fall, the fall of al-Bashar Assad. So al-Bashar Assad belongs to minority community of Shia Muslims, but he ran away from the Syria, and now Syria is a control of other community. And the fear in the minority community is that they will be what? They will be put under atrocities and they may be genocide. And new constitution have been came, and under this constitution, government have sweeping power, which means there is a strong chances of atrocities committed on the minorities. So this is the concern shown by the international community that the interim government of Syria should not have sweeping power, otherwise there will be atrocities committed on whom? Minorities. So in this context, this news is reported by the leading newspaper in today's newspaper. Now let's move to the next news. It is related to again Iran. UN Human Rights Commission have reported that Iranian government is putting too much surveillance on the women, because women in the Iran in the recent past, they have tried to show their dissent with the government policies and they were executed. So in that context, this news is being in the newspaper, and as per the United Nations, Iranian government is putting a lot of electronic surveillance to watch the movement and activities of women on the especially social media platform in order to control any kind of uprising or any kind of rebellion against the government at mass level. So this is what reported by the UN. So these are today's important news. I hope you have understood all these things, and what suggestions I have made, kindly go to those suggestions and see those things carefully. Especially Manrega, Aditya L1 mission. Apart from that, you can also see the Gaza and nearby locations. These are the important map-based thing you have to go. And you can also revise your budget chapter, especially what are the expenditures of the government of India, what are the receipts of the government of India. It will give you the quick revision, and you can also see in this year's budget what government have mentioned about the expenditures and receipts. Okay, thank you.
కాంపిటేటివ్ ఎగ్జామ్ సంబంధించి ప్రత్యేకంగా సివిల్ సర్వీసెస్ ఎగ్జామ్ సంబంధించి ఏ ఆప్షన్ చూస్ చేసుకోవాలి, ప్రిపరేషన్ ఎప్పుడు స్టార్ట్ చేయాలి, ఏ బుక్స్ రిఫర్ చేయాలి, ఇలాంటి డౌట్స్ ఉంటే CSBIS అకాడమీని కాంటాక్ట్ అవ్వచ్చు. దీనికి సంబంధించి నా పర్సనల్ అపాయింట్మెంట్ ఈ వీడియో పైన డిస్ప్లే అవుతున్న కాంటాక్ట్ నెంబర్కి ఫోన్ చేసి తీసుకోవచ్చు.